Where it's like, this has to be the
All
only
right.
time in human history that no matter how much of an asshole you are, you're surprised when somebody just punches you for it.
All right. Are we ready to begin?
Damn.
Are you ready to want to punch the GM?
I think they might rather punch my city.
My city's constantly punching people in the face.
I'm just scared of Tice's city. Like I'm like, I'm not sure what you guys are up to, but I'm sure it's fucking weird. Like,
Hey, we're scholarly, just like you.
you know what really
Alrighty.
surprised me? Baptiste's ult doesn't last for very long. The amplification field, which is probably for the best because it's big. You know, it makes a huge difference. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Lucia's, and I could easily see it. Just like it doesn't last very long, but it swings a team fight.
Who would like to do the retelling from the previous session? I know Miles did it last time. So. It should be someone new.
So, last time on Planescape Ball Z, we were introduced to each of the 5 cities, and each with their own unique talent. And then we came to our first dilemma. The fields be barren. We found out we found out a little bit of information about each town by just how they stopped their people from dying from food. Some people ate their people. Some people went out hunting and ate all the wildlife outside. Some people just dug up mushrooms by digging deeper. Yeah, and then of course the druids got a druid and grow crops, which then turned out to be that every city was observed by another group of druids, who each in turn invited them to basically a city meetup. Each group decided to spend some resources to help make it happen, and once we got there, shenanigans began. And after a little bit, we found out there was an announcement of another city that came to talk to us, which turned out to be an empire. The empire, one of our best men, and put them on a wall that apparently was holding back the chaos. After some deliberation of if the land was had any value or not, and the possibility of adding value to the chaos lands. Some people agreed to help them, and after our first meeting of the Druid Circle, we went back to our towns and found out some information. Some people found out more about how the fallen god in the city died, and a few others found out other information, while others put well-muscled spies in cities. I think that's all of that I can remember from that thing.
Yeah, it's a pretty good summary.
Also, the raccoons got a raccoon, and they were just basically by stealing everything and putting it and using it to steal other things. They somehow made everything like harmonious.
Well, primarily they acquired a very large assortment of eggs.
Yeah, so it's good. I think they got eggs.
Well, I was more talking about during the druid meeting. They like all the food got osmosis through the whole camp, because they were picking up items and they were trading it for other items in the thing, and then they take those items and trade them for other things.
Yeah, that's basically what they do. They don't necessarily ask permission when they trade, but they always trade. Alrighty. So, life is returning to your individual societies, but there have been consequences of the recent encounters. Max, we will begin with you. An assortment of weapons has been brought over by some raccoons looking to trade. And among them, a powerful magical weapon was discovered, and it was traded for a useless stick on the ground, or something. It's not entirely clear what, but One of your members of your society has acquired a powerful weapon and will be using it to challenge for rulership of the society. What is this weapon, and who is wielding it?
I was just seeing if that program was awake. Uh, so they're challenging my king with it?
Yep, one of your people is challenging the king of your city. This is your city, so who's challenging the king, and what's this cool weapon that he got from the raccoons that he thinks will give him an edge against the lucky, clumsy king?
Oh, shush.
It's a feature of your society that this will probably be happening once per session.
I would say the guy just goes by Chris, and he has the wand of chicken summoning.
A dangerous weapon. What does Chris believe this chicken summoning is going to aid him with? Will he trample the lucky, clumsy king with 1,000 chickens?
He's hoping that chickens are his weakness, because battle axes are not. So maybe chickens are.
He's being clever.
But so you can feed a whole army.
What is the result of the battle between the two?
I share an office, and my brother-in-law just looked at me because of that weapon.
Yeah.
What was the question?
What is the result of their battle? How does their battle go down?
Oh, I didn't know I could just choose.
So anybody else?
We can roll for it if you want. But yeah, I mean, it's your city, so your decision here.
I'll say that, it turns out that the lucky king. Oh, I did name him. Bad Luck Slaprock. So, it turns out he just has so much bad luck that it turns out being good luck sometimes. That's how he won that one time with the axe guy. But essentially, the same thing happens here. The guy summons a bunch of chickens that are very angrily heading towards Schleprock, but it turns out Schleprock had birdseed, and he threw it at Chris, and then they just obliterated Chris instead because he was covered in chicken feed or birdseed.
You tied knives to their chicken legs.
Yes. Well, he summons them from the wild, so it's not like he can prepare them. They just kind of appear.
All right. Deep in the twisting gears of Runeterra, word has come that there is an interest from the Empire in your city. The Empire has sent a very particular man with very particular tastes who wants to basically set up an embassy, but he doesn't really want to build a building on his own. He just kind of wants to hang out in a local inn with very expensive wine on the government's payroll. Essentially, he wants you guys to put him up for free in a fancy establishment. Tice?
Yes, I'm here. I'm just thinking for a second. Well, if he wants to find out the delicacies of the city, we can show it to him. But of course, we would love to see the delicacies of the empire.
You sent some guys up to the Empire, though, right?
Yes, I was sending up some people that were going to send back information to me and some stuff.
Yeah. So he says, I'm sure your diplomats will do fine. Bring me more of that delightful red drink.
But yes, if like we'll send him some stuff. It will be it'll be a good year, of course. But of course, the first if he catches winds of it, I'll of course execute the man that gave it to him. But we'll add some stuff to make him take suggestions more easier, like sort of a poison. It won't kill him, but it'll make him more open up for suggestions.
Ah, very clever.
It's truth serum.
He seems
It's
to be
not
extremely
serum.
pleased by the drink. The flavor is delectable. Meanwhile, in the dual city of Korth and Denuim, there does appear to be some recent magical disappearances of chickens that haven't been fully explained. But overall, things are fairly calm in the city. The only interesting issue is interactions have sort of increased between the city druids and the druids of the wilds, and this is creating a small increase in the friction between their philosophies. The druids of the wilds feel like it's an imposition to have to deal with the city druids and cities in general and other druids in general, even each other. But this Starmoot has kind of been more than they bargained for, and while they're still doing their duties to uphold the oaths that they made, they're grumbling a lot about it. There's nothing that necessarily needs to be done about this, but it's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly clarify, from the king on down that, nobody is forced to work with us. To the extent that people are either willing to work with us or willing to, engage in exchange of, trade, of ideas, of philosophy, of pretty much anything. We welcome that, and we do wish to partake in that. But if anyone has deeply held misgivings about working with us, then we would not suggest that they're in any way required to.
The primary point that's brought up to counter this argument seems to be that while you are not forcing them to be there, circumstances are, in that if the civilizations don't cooperate, there is devastation to the forests, and that's of concern to the druids.
Right. So that's the choice they've made.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would just emphasize that again, that nothing has forced anybody into working with anyone. We have views on just druidism in general that some may think are incompatible, some may think they're compatible. If you're working with us, it's because you've already decided that the benefits outweigh the alternative. So just keep that in mind. And if you no longer believe that to be the case, then you probably shouldn't be working with us.
In Kashak, the Strange Tree, some members of your society have come back from a long trek, started well before this encounter with the Empire. And they do speak of a wall, but not directly north, actually quite a bit off to the east. Basically, what they say is that there's a way to just walk around this wall. It doesn't seem to be protecting anything in particular except the mountains. And then on the other side, there are people to trade with. They're an expeditionary force returning, saying that they did find good trade from people north of this strange wall that seems to be along the northern border of the mountains. To put it another way, while the mountains are north of you and the wall's north of the mountains, there are people north of that, and you can just walk around the whole affair and get to them, and they seem to be good trading partners.
I mean, yeah, in that case, we're going to go trade.
Very good. With the blessings of the wiser traders, they began preparations to set out with some of the random junk from the junk pile to see what they can bring back.
Yeah, I mean, expeditionary traders it's kind of a religious thing. So I mean, their official title is theft.
Okay, yeah, so this would be a returning theft that had completed its
Indeed.
expedition and found new trade.
Awesome.
They say that the people there smell funny, but they trade good, so it's fine.
Yeah, most animals smell funny, so.
Yeah, I mean, that basically describes everyone you've met in the past lifetime of that particular raccoon. All the non-raccoons smell funny in their own special ways. Alright, and so it is that all the peoples need to be fed again. This time we are not under a famine, so we're going to roll without any penalties here. Is Uther up?
Yeah,
I think
I
so.
rolled and woke him up before.
Awesome. Give him a command here.
I want to say that I solved problem number 2 with problem number 1.
Alrighty. So there is 5 dice of hunger in the civilization. This should be pretty easy for most of you to deal with. Some of you have items that you can just exchange to deal with this. Ed, you may simply trade eggs if you don't want to deal with it. If you choose not to deal with it, your leader has an entire action they can undertake that can have nothing to do whatsoever with dealing with hunger. Or they can
Yeah, I
take
mean,
their
we're just
action
going to eat
and
our eggs. We got a pretty big haul of eggs. So, yeah, that plus the stuff I mean, we basically took every bit of food that wasn't nailed down or explicitly in the hands of another creature from the moot. So we're kind of just living off of that for a while.
Alright, you can tax your eggs by 5 to resolve that issue immediately. And then all remaining eggs become a chicken of quality, whatever the quality remaining was. Chickens, plural. It's some number of chickens with the quality of whatever remained from the eggs.
We just let them loose in the forest. There's no real use in chickens. They don't like to trade. They don't have anything valuable to trade.
Chickens do a very simple trade. It's just slow. You trade them seed for eggs.
Ah. I'm not sure we're sophisticated enough for that sort of domestic thing, but we'll leave the chickens around, and if we notice that the chickens leave eggs lying around, then there will be people trading random shit with chickens as they take their eggs. That's what's going to happen. We've never had this concentration of eggs before.
Oh,
What
right.
is this like? Is this like an innovation role?
Yeah, right.
I just imagine walking into your area and just having like, what? Why do people keep putting items all around these chickens? It's like they've made a corral because there's just items around them.
It's the strangest looking chicken coop I've ever seen.
Yeah.
All right, Max, how do you want to deal with the? Your people need to be fed. It's five dice worth of food has to hit their mouths.
Well, a lot of chickens just died in the last fight, so or they're around and then people killed them and ate them. I don't know how I roll for that. I don't know how that has a quality.
So so basically you can sacrifice the chicken rod, basically expending all of its resources to generate food, or you can hang on to that. and try something else.
What's the quality on the chicken rod?
It's quality 5 chicken rod.
I don't know if I want to get rid of that.
If you use the chicken rod, then you don't have to use your king to do anything. So your king will be available to take another action on behalf of your civilization without any penalty.
Are our taxes from last round gone now?
Nope.
Hmm.
But that could be something you have your king do, is to take actions to recover tax, including rest and relaxation to recover tax on himself, or various projects to restore the stats of the city itself.
If I used a talent and then would that be like my turn, or would I still have free action since I just got rid of it with a talent?
You want to use your Great Hunt talent?
I mean, yeah, I was asking if I use that, I still freed up to do something, or
yes. Because that you're not making a roll with that. You're just taxing it and saying it's done. A Great Hunt was called, and it happened.
Okay, I'm gonna tax that Great Hunt, so that solves the hunger issues. Hmm. On top of that, is there any way I can search? Was it connections to find out if there's a person in my town?
Yes. You're looking for a person of a particular set of skills. Skills that make them a nightmare to people like you.
I mean, maybe. Uh,
And I say, if you've got an error, save it for the damn.
yeah, I want to try to use my connections and see, like, if I can find, like, if I can search through my city and see who the best person is for, like, spying and espionage and stuff like that.
Okay. Go ahead.
Is it just connections, or is there something else?
If you have a talent that lets you add something to your connections, then there are talents that do that, but otherwise it's just your connections.
No, I don't think so.
Connections is one of those stats that can go all the way up to 10.
Eh, 3 or 4. It's pretty good.
All right. You found a quality 3 skulker, somebody skilled at blending in and remaining out of sight in places. You can add this to your inventory underneath the chicken rod. You may, if you wish, appoint the skulker as an advisor or champion, basically the hand of the king. This would give you an extra action that you could have the skulker take as opposed to your king. It would have to be an action that is within the skulker's purview. Otherwise, the skulker will have penalties.
So there's no downside to making him that. Or is it that he becomes narratively driven at that point?
So if you decide to make him, to give him an official title, then he has power within your city and may challenge your king. But anyone may challenge your king, so
Yeah.
it's kind of more of a narrative thing.
How do
Really,
I?
at the moment, there's no reason not to. Like from a sort of a meta perspective, but as you find more people, you might want to put somebody more qualified as the Hand of the King, which might upset the Skulker for being fired. So it's up to you.
I'll do it for now.
Alrighty. Miles, how is Koreth and their sister city handling the Category 5 general people gotta eat?
Yeah, I'm just gonna use magical gardens. Just tax my agriculture and deal with it.
Alright.
Yeah, and then for my king, suppose I'd like to recover taxes. There's one tax on him. There's now one tax on my agriculture. So I suppose the priority would be recovering the tax on him. So maybe he goes off and spends a little bit of time in Denwin, just kind of figuring out what he's gonna do next and recharging a little.
Alright, he spends his time in meditation and recovers his tax. That's a good use of a king. Ed, you didn't actually have your chief Dirte Thief. Is that how it's pronounced?
Dirta Thef, really.
Dirte
But he's
Thief.
the he's the high Dirta Thef. But he's yeah. I mean, I don't know what he would do. I mean, he would probably go trading, to be honest.
Okay, I will accept that as him recovering tax.
Yeah, we have a selection of we have a selection of extremely valuable eggs, and we like to give up our valuable things if we're not directly using them. So we'll go trade valuable eggs for useless crap like, I don't know, coins and uh, other junk.
All right. He recovers his position somewhat. Yeah. And let's see. Runeterra, how are you dealing with the Category 5 hunger? You can have your king take action, or you can try and solve it with... I don't know if you have any items that can solve it.
No, the only thing I have is the star map, and I don't think the
Okay.
um they're gonna be uh gonna use all their deep knowledge with the knowledge of the
She
depths
said she did really
and
well.
some of their limited knowledge of agriculture to
Severe ADHD.
to have to basically the basically what's it called to enhance their fields. They enrich their fields with like with some of the blood that they have the lower class blood that they don't need, and like
It's bad.
probably they basically make I don't know what you can, yeah, basically use the life energy of the dead bodies to like help grow the crops again. So I'm using agriculture currently with knowledge of the depths of the dead,
Okay.
and I think it's going to be using industry. I think.
That sounds right. Okay, that takes care of 4 of the hunger. You've got 1 hunger remaining. You can either apply a tax somewhere, or you can tax your king to take another action.
I will take a tax on my composure.
Word arrives in all 3 or 4. I guess there would be 5. Yeah, we're only missing 1 person. In all 4 of your cities, word arrives from the southern coast. A pirate ship has been sighted, but not an ordinary pirate ship, as reports from the first town it has raided, a minor fishing village, owing allegiance to no one in particular, but generally being rather close to the trade areas with Loma Firma and Kashak the Strange Tree. They're reporting that the pirates are undead, being led by a lich, and they're taking not only gold and valuables, what they can find from these poor fishermen, but also they're taking the corpses of the dead to animate and add to their fleet. They seem to be continuing west along the coast and will be entering the areas of Koreth and then Runeterra in turn. While none of them are going to come far enough inland to threaten your cities directly, it does look like they're going to be harassing the people along the coast. If any of you wish to take action, this is a moment in which you guys can ride out and try and do something.
So, approximately how large is their fleet, from what we know?
Reports suggest that there are 3 ships. Only one of the ships has the actual necromancer leading the organization. The other 2 ships are being manned entirely by undead. So it's like a flagship and then 2 little skiffs.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, just based on the speed at which they're traveling, I assume that I could kind of like triangulate if I send people out from my city where we could basically intercept them and attempt to deal with them.
The easiest thing would be to intercept them at the next village that they're going to try to raid. But if you hoof it a little bit, you might be able to go further down, let that village just take the raid, and at the next village after that, prepare a fleet of your own to meet them in the water. You'd have to send some of your engineering guys to, or in your case, I guess, some druids to grow some trees into boats. But there would be,
Yes.
there'd be some engineering involved in this.
Okay. And how do they normally attack these cities? Like, do they? I assume they have to. I mean, they have to get off their boats and come ashore and raid them, right?
Yes. So very often they will, they will attack the city. They will come off the boats. Since the reports are from people fleeing the devastation, they're not terribly specific. But being as they are undead, they don't need to breathe. So functioning underwater is as good as functioning above it.
So as far as how this works, like,
Yeah.
I
was taught the Marines.
like to try to face them. Is it like we're all doing roles, and then if we say that our part to play is that part, and that's how it all works with us? Like, if we all go at one, or is it we're all facing this like on our own in some way?
Well, that's up to you. If you guys want to cooperate, then you can face it as a cumulative test. If you wish to abstain, you can see what happens. And then when they get into your territories, deal with that as you see fit.
So initially, like, my wasteland people would hear about something like this and be like, well, of course, that's why you don't live by the sea. Things come out of there and they attack you. So, like, not like we care. And then whoever however we found out or whatever, they're like, oh, yeah, I guess it's not big of an issue. It's just, they've been collecting treasure and stuff from those people. And what? They've been doing what? They have what? Where? And I'm not there. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'm willing to go on my own. But if there's a joint effort, I have militia that can join on boats or attack on land.
Yeah, I definitely intend to send a druid militia.
I only have militia, but it's a lot.
All right.
And I'm curious if Fire Siege can be repurposed into attacking an armada.
Yes.
Okay.
So I guess I'm joining with the druids.
Yeah,
As
and
the ancient Greeks once said, a boat is a wooden wall.
Fair enough. All right.
I'm sending a militia, but with goods and parlay.
Yeah. And also my king will be like the head of the militia too. Like I will be sending my king.
So, Max, I understand yours is not a formal military endeavor. Yours is a crowd of treasure seekers that are running over there because they're greedy. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd like to put the Skulker in charge of the group that goes over there. And so I'll give him orders to follow along and cooperate as much as possible, um, unless they just want something ridiculous, like for us to give up all our treasure. You know, don't do that.
Shit.
Um,
It's gonna hit us no matter what.
and yeah, I'll have him. I guess I'll roll militia.
When the time comes, yeah. So,
Okay.
all right. You guys end up meeting at a crossroads. Oh, which village are you heading to?
I'd like to head to the first one.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're going right away to where they're going to attack next.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how long they've been traveling along the coast before they came into your territories too. There may be a lot of treasure there.
Yeah, I figure if they have to come, as long as they have to come ashore to attack, like I think that puts us in our best element, where we're
Yeah.
on firm land. It's where we're used to. It's what we do.
Plus, if their boats have to get, well, I guess they don't have to get close, but if they do get close, then we can attack them from the shore too.
Are the traders from the strange tree going to send anyone?
I mean, it entirely depends on whether we've heard that there's reasonable opportunity for trade there. If other people are going there to fight or hang out, there must be a camp. So I guess we'll go and trade with those people.
Okay. Some raccoons have joined the camp.
Yeah, we don't
No one's sure.
we don't exactly ride out anywhere. That's just not a thing that we do. But we do just happen to be places.
And this is awkward. There seems to be a diplomatic envoy coming down the road from Runeterra. Very different from a military organization preparing to attack. They seem to have a cart with gifts and wine.
For the Lich.
Oh, spectacular. I mean, if it's just an offering, I mean, my king's not there. It's just the Skulker. But I would say that, I mean, they're going to take whatever's available.
I mean, a significant amount of their gifts and wine are going to be replaced with eggs, but as part of fair trade. But
Some of the wine does turn out to be blood, I think. I may need some confirmation from Tice there on that.
It is confirmed.
Yeah,
that's okay. I mean, we don't drink we don't drink wine anyway.
I don't imagine a lot of the people in my area have a problem with that. I mean, some might.
All right, well, these four nations have gathered here, and you're at a crossroads. It's just down the road to the town. You guys can formulate your plan, decide what each of you is going to contribute, and then try and rescue the town. Already you hear a horn blowing. Black sails can be seen in the distance.
All right, I'll say I believe we druids can destroy the armada. I believe we can wipe out their ship.
Well, that'll leave them without a home. I guess they might need somewhere to stay if they wish to stay living.
Yeah, my Skulker was only set with orders to collect goods, and if he has to eliminate a Lich to do that, then he's going to do that. The fate of the actual town people is up to themselves. I mean, they're not going to wantonly kill them for no reason. At least I don't think they will.
All right, let's just go.
The criminal records of your people may say otherwise.
I mean,
hey, if
is-
it
I mean,
happens, it
is-
happens.
is like, are the undead accessible?
They're coming on boats. They will be landing soon to enter the town and begin killing people to collect their corpses.
Livestock traders. My guys move in and start setting up along the coastline.
Okay, so the raccoons have dashed off towards the village. I assume you're charging after them, the druids and the ruffians.
Yeah, I mean, if we're all going in,
Are
I mean,
people
a
leaving?
raccoon just shouted Leroy and then charged in to trade.
Are the people in the city running away or something?
Yes, it does appear that there is some panic in the city. Some people are trying to take up defensive positions to guard their stuff.
Okay,
Others are
so
fleeing.
I'm not going to call it looting because we don't loot. But if they're just abandoning all of their valuable possessions, we'll go ahead and we're going to start accumulating stuff.
Some of them. Others are staying to protect what's theirs.
We'll try and trade with them. And by try, I mean we'll trade with them.
my guys do.
Everybody here.
You arrive in town in time to hear from the other side of the. It's a small village, but you do arrive in time to hear the sound of boots on gangplanks as perfectly synchronized undead corpses march. Their movements are a pantomime of life. It's like a puppeteer pulling on strings, but all of them in perfect synchrony.
So I'm guessing that there's like some element of magic here. Obviously, I
Oh,
wonder, would my king be able to sense where the lich is based on like the control that he's like? Would he be able to like pinpoint which ship he's on based on?
It's fairly easy to sense using his eyes with no magical capability whatsoever.
All
One of the
right.
ships is bigger than the other, and has a dude standing up in the crow's nest waving his arms about.
All right, my king would like to drop fire siege on that ship.
Very good. Make your roll.
What would I be rolling there?
The quality of the fire siege.
All right, so that would be Q5.
Or, actually, hold up. I think that's how we're doing it. Oh yeah, okay. I'm sorry. So you have a choice. You may roll your military plus siegecraft and add the fire siege as pips, or you may tax the fire siege to add it as dice. But you still get your military plus siegecraft either way.
I will tax my I'll tax my fire siege. So that's 5 dice there, 2 military, 0 siegecraft, I believe. Yeah, so that's gonna be 7 dice.
I'm rolling for the devastation on the town. All right. Unleashing the fire siege and with your guys trying to target the ship as best they can. They put a lot of fire towards the ship. Some of it goes over the ship harmlessly. Some of it goes into the water, kicking up clouds of steam. But within the steam, you do see flashes of red fire and light and the sound of splintering wood. So something within the steam cloud is definitely broken. Meanwhile, on the land, there is 6 dice worth of zombie death happening. For those of you who are going to engage in melee, you'll need to overcome that to rescue the town. That will not earn you any treasure per se. Looting the town will be a separate role. This is just to make it safe for you guys to do your thing.
There's people in between, or there's things in between me and the loot. That's fine. So military and militia.
Correct. Military plus militia.
Oh,
Your guys managed to smash up about half the zombies.
is anybody else hitting these things?
And the zombies want to trade sharp weapons very, very rapidly directly at your people.
Well, it's a.
They don't seem to be letting go of the weapons either, just trading directly at them repeatedly.
Well, that's just rude.
They seem to be held together by leather straps that are keeping the bones together. The flesh on the outside is just like a coating draping the bones. It's not really doing anything.
I'm assuming they smell really bad as well.
Oh yeah, they smell awful.
Okay, I'll give the order that these are not traitors. It's not clear that they're even alive. We're not really sure what's going on, but they have valuable nails, and nails are very useful. Nails, staples, straps, these sorts of things. So we're going to start trading for their nails and leather straps.
All right, make a. I mean, this isn't really a trade roll. This is a military militia roll.
But I mean, I have a talent that lets me make it a trade roll.
Oh yeah, that's right, you do. Globalism.
Let's see. Yeah, but it's probably not. It's probably not economy. It probably is a military role, right?
Yeah. You're trading by force against an unwilling partner. It's also, you've given an order. It's not something that's happening organically as a result of your people's behavior. It's, yeah.
All right, not great.
Damn.
What's Q for? Was that supposed to be pips?
Oh shit! Sorry.
Because that would give you what, 2 more successes, right?
Yeah, it's P4. Sorry, that's right. So that's 2 more successes. So it's 3 successes.
3 successes. Okay.
Yay!
Yay! So, all right. Working together, you guys managed to fend off the zombie horde. When the steam clears, the 2 skiffs are making sail. The necromancer is just barely climbing aboard that one. The main ship is devastated, but still afloat. It just has no sails or oars.
So we see the necromancer attempting to escape.
You do. You may pursue the necromancer by whatever means you can devise, or you may loot the ship. The flagship is where it is suspected that the treasure is.
So we can't engage the necromancer and then loot the ship?
You don't know. You wouldn't be the first one on it. Who knows what other people might take? Tice, your trading convoy comes up upon the scene. You do note the necromancer fleeing from devastation. You have a pretty good idea where he's going to go. He's probably just going over to the next town over in his skiff. What would you like to do?
Yeah, one of the main guys at the front just like walks up to one of the bodies and just sort of like pulls out a little knife and he cuts off one of the fingers and he looks and goes, "He's very sloppy, you know." And he will cut him and several people will cut their wrists and blood will begin to flow as they cast a spell to basically to swap one of his minions for him because he's of their connection.
Okay. Let's see. This is definitely definitely a scholarship roll. What would you like to pair this with?
Let's see here. Either I guess what would be good here? It's not mystery, so that's not it.
Industry makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is an industry plus scholarship roll.
Okay, I'm gonna be blowing another 5 endurance.
Okay. Your target number is 3 to successfully teleport an unwilling subject of great magical power to you. Nice. All right, well, you definitely buried the needle on that roll. Those of you watching the skiffs do notice a spray of blood coming out of the hole on one of them. You're not sure what it means. Maybe it's some dark magic being cast. In any case, who wants to pursue the skiffs to finish off the force, and who wants to remain and get first pick at the loot?
On first pick.
I mean, you know where I'm going to be, so.
Yeah.
I'm already picking at the loot.
Oh wait, what's that? Did I kill him or did he switch places?
He switched places, but your magic has bloody effects.
Okay, I was just checking. I was worried there for a second that he exploded. My magic seems to do that to people.
No, he's fine.
So as far as we can tell, the necromancer just like teleported away.
You can't really see because he was inside his skiff trying to sail away, but there was definitely a splash of blood.
As much as we probably would pursue him, but only if we knew he was there. Yeah, I mean, they'd probably assume at that point he just teleported away, and that would leave not much. Look, what? How many people are on this skiff, approximately?
The skiffs are manned entirely by undead. There's no really people, so to speak, but there's about like 20 skeletons per crew.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go. We'll go to the ship. We're less curious about loot and more curious about information. And
Okay. How do
artifacts
you
and
intend
potential.
to make pursuit?
No, we won't be pursued. We'd be going to the flagship.
Oh, you're going to the
try
ship. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right.
But basically, our concern is less about treasure and more about like, manuscripts, journals, potential artifacts, stuff like that.
So everybody who has gone to the ship, which is everybody except Tice, go ahead and roll an investigation plus economy. And you'll be adding an item called treasure to your society's vault of a quality level equal to your successes.
What is it now? Investigation and society?
Investigation plus economy.
Oh, it's economy.
Knowing what is valuable to take before other people can get their hands on it.
Since we're looking for not for treasure, could that be a scholarship role for us since we're basically looking for information around like magic and
Yeah, you can forego taking the treasure and instead acquire scrolls of knowledge equal to the quality of a scholarship plus culture roll.
okay. And actually get fewer successes. But it's what I want.
All right, Ed, you have a quality 4 pile of treasure to take back. Max, you have a quality 2 pile of treasure, and yeah, and Miles, you have a quality 1 pile of scrolls of knowledge. It's not particularly nice knowledge, but it's knowledge. And Tice, you have a quality 8 necromancer guest. He is pleased by your offer of wine and has agreed to come back to your civilization since his fleet is, his flagship is in tatters, and it's going to take him some time to regroup and rebuild. In the meantime, he's at your disposal, but he may leave of his own volition later.
Yes, well, we do have some things that we need of his expertise, especially the idea of a dead god underneath our city might perk his interests. And of course, all that wine was laced with the same poison.
You're not entirely certain the poison's going to affect him, as he appears to be not entirely alive, but yeah.
Yeah, we didn't know exactly what kind of undead if he was actually undead or not before we got there.
It's always worth a try.
Also, it's gonna be funny because if the raiders or anyone had actually stolen any of the wine.
You know for a fact that some of the raccoons have, although they're not drinking it, so who knows where it's going to end up.
Yeah, of course my guys just did when we saw the raccoons, Kim, we just did the turn away for a second, and they're like, oh, we talk, and we just but we have an eye on them as they start picking up several of the barrels, and we're just oh no, someone took our barrels. We were too clumsy, I guess.
Returning home to your kingdoms, all of you find that reports have started coming back from the north, from the Empire and from the Wall. Ed, for your raccoons, these reports are old news, as your Thef religious pilgrimage has already given you more accurate and detailed reports from beyond the Wall. But still, some people are coming back from the Wall, saying there's people in the Wall, and they generally want to trade for things that make life a little more comfortable when you're standing on a wall in the cold. Smoking weed, like stiff drinks, and sometimes just kindling to make a warm fire.
All right.
All those useless sticks that people say are useless suddenly become very useful when what you need is something to burn to stay warm.
And zombie parts. We have a collection of those. So
they're not aware of that yet, but yes, you do have a collection of zombie parts now too to trade. No one can really tell that they were zombie parts. They just look like a fairly nice assortment of nails, leather rope, and yeah, brackets and braces. But yeah, you do get those little reports. For Miles, they're very, very careful about what they let your people see. And your people notice that they're not giving them access to everything. But also, your people were being very, very polite. They were staying out of the way, and yeah, and so there was very little friction. Nobody really got mad at anybody, and your behavior was on point. Max, none of your guys really got into it. A couple people went to get away and start a new life. They haven't come back, so you're not really sure what's going on. You got basically no intel out of it. And Tice, your guys have come back with basically with invitations to continue to visit and perhaps discuss trade. The visitor in your inn has taken very much to liking the wine, and also occasionally disappears into the depths, walking down among the lower gears. His eyes have started to turn red. I'm not sure if that's a normal thing for your people or not, but it's definitely happening to him.
All right. Yeah, of course we'll have people keep an eye on him, and like have some ambassadors like check on him once in a while, like since he's like a little bit friendly, like finding out like what kind of information he's been learning and stuff about the city, like so how's the sightseeing been? I like you heard rumors that you've had to deal with like the wretched filth down below. I hope they didn't like make your stay any poor, down in the lower depths.
Oh no, I found it delightful. There's such a rush of energy among the lower folk.
Yes, of course they are the building blocks of this city, whether they like it or not.
The oil that keeps the gears running smoothly. He licks his lips as he thinks of it. In the light, his teeth do look somewhat more pointy than usual.
Uh,
But yeah, we'll we'll keep status on him, probably consulting to any of our techs we have, just in case, because this mysterious stranger is starting to have glowing eyes and stuff, which I don't think it sometimes doesn't happen here, but he's not from our city, so it's always good to know everything about your informants. And we'll also any informants we have sent to their capital will be digging out dirt about to see if we've oh yeah, we have this nobleman in our city that's come to take a liking to it, so we'd like to know more about him.
Okay. Go ahead and make an intrigue. Intrigue plus diplomacy roll to see what your diplomats are able to dig up. Everybody else can also make a single action this round.
So are the people that we had on the wall, are they back at this point?
Yes.
Okay.
Your diplomats have returned. Yeah, the Druid diplomats were treated very differently, and they have some very startling reports.
Okay, cool.
There
Yeah,
is
I'll
a
wait for that
magical
before I
energy
make my
north of the wall, and it is dark.
And what about the empire itself? Did we get a sense of their kind of cultural? Basically, are there? I mean, no, just knowing it that the magic north of the wall is dark. I mean, that kind of answers most of the question by itself. We know they're fighting an actual enemy. Did we get a general sense of kind of the culture of this empire? Like,
They're very secretive, and your people are able to identify that they don't seem to have a realistic means of keeping themselves fed. Whatever it is that's maintaining this empire, it's not on the surface. There were caves below, but you weren't given access to any of them to go down into the mountain. Everything you saw was on the surface of the mountain.
I had originally sent like another guy to tail them, and then I guess you said before some people wandered off to join the wall. Uh, if those people come back, am I able to get more information from?
Who was the guy that you sent to tail them?
Oh, they didn't have anything special. It was one of the envoys that was with me.
Oh, at the Star Moot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they tailed them to their encampment, and eventually their encampment walked north. The couple of your guys that went north with them haven't come back.
No, spectacular.
They're probably posted on the wall, defending it. So it would be a long time before they would actually be relieved of duty and come back.
did we actually encounter anything? Like, we sensed the magic coming from the north. Did we actually encounter the enemy? Like, did it
No,
make any
you did not.
attacks? Okay.
And
I'm,
broadly speaking, the mentality on the wall was one of boredom. They haven't seen the enemy in a while. They're just constantly being told the enemy is there.
yeah, like we certainly would have inquired like what the nature of the enemy was and when the last attack was. I don't know how forthcoming they would have been with that information, but yeah, just strictly on a what do we send up here to support you guys basis, those are the kind of things we would need.
Their general answer is that the enemy is they're people who have worshipped dark gods and been cursed by their taint. And they will be spreading that taint wherever they go. And there's definitely a dark magical presence in the north. Yeah. North of the wall, there's just a roiling chaos of evil in the magical atmosphere. But again, you didn't actually go north of the wall. Under warning, of course, that if you do, you'll be corrupted and they wouldn't be able to let you back.
Is it? Do I like if I could do a skill to recover taxes? Is it just one, or is it recovering all of it?
It depends on how you're going to go about it. What is it that you would like to recover?
Oh, I guess I could do my survival. I guess I could say while these people are all like info gathering and stuff, we're just like gathering ourselves and
Yeah, training
relaxing
exercises
and stuff. Yeah. I don't have to roll, right? I just get my stuff back.
Um, I'm actually trying to think of what you would roll for training your people in survival. For your guys, it's very much a cultural thing.
Probably athletics also. Or exploration, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so you could like host races and have them test their athletics to try and bring that up, or you could have them go on a little wilderness adventure just to try and increase understanding of the local ecology.
Yeah, I'll do that. The last one.
Okay. So yeah, roll your culture plus exploration. And you may recover up to that amount of tax in your survival.
Yay! I have an extra one. Can I get more survival now?
Nope. So Tice, your attempted entry is basically brought up no information about this guy. He's a noble of the Empire. He volunteered for the post, and generally people in the Empire think highly of him. He comes from an old family, an up-and-coming youngster. It's a little odd that there's only a few years worth of history people seem to recall about him. He does seem older than that, but yeah, maybe he just wasn't very exciting until a couple years ago. In any case, now he's appointed himself basically to be a liaison to your empire.
Could my spies, because I do have one spy at his place, could that thing have like relayed me information about this guy? Like not specific, just that the guy exists and what he looks like and stuff like that, real mundane stuff.
Yes.
I'd really like to help out this neighboring nation because I think I know what's going on.
Oh, I really know. I know what's going on, like out of character.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, like, I'd love for my spy to be like, "Hey, you'll never guess what's going on over here."
Yeah, your spy reports the basic comings and goings of this gentleman.
Could I have him like leave a note or like put some like I don't know. I don't really have evidence, and he's only a quality one. Basically, a guy for away from my guy to let on what I think I know is going on with this dude.
Yeah, you can send. I mean, that's what spies are for.
Yeah, I'd just like to somehow get word to either Tice's people or Tice's leader or something. Something that's not going to expose my spy, like just graffiti the walls or something. Like Count Dooku is a vampire. You have a flea on your dog. I'm gonna have him start that rumor. That's what I'll do. I'll have him start a rumor that this dude's a vampire in a city that's run on blood. That's kind of bad.
Yeah, like, I'm not convinced these people will totally care. They'd be like, "Oh, neat, a vampire. Cool." They'll fit right over the dead guy.
Well, yeah, but that sounds like a bad thing. If your city runs on blood and you have a vampire rolling around, that could be bad.
Well, it depends.
It could be quite a drain on the economy.
Exactly. Yeah, so I'm just going to have him do graffitiing.
A slight increase in vandalism within your town is of some concern, as it means that somebody is either not doing their job, getting ground into blood in the years, or one of your nobility has gone rogue. Perhaps they're playing a merry jest. Perhaps it's a clever political scheme. But whatever the case is, they are definitely, maligning the new gentleman by implying that he's drinking more than his fair share. Meanwhile, Ed, is there anything you would like to do before your contact with the people north of the wall returns?
Oh no, not particularly. We're going to dig through our treasure and trade it or retrade it with other people that are around. Try and get rid of much of it as much of it as possible. Keep the trade flowing. If anyone has any eggs, then we are going to acquire those as well.
Right on. Eventually, some of the chickens begin um, laying eggs.
All right, we trade zombie parts and other random garbage and whatever else we have lying around to the chickens.
The chickens make some very strange nests out of leftover zombie parts.
That's perfectly fine.
Then your emissaries come back. The trade was good. These people have a lot of crafted goods, very creative carvings, interesting looking things, also useful things. They have a pretty good functioning agriculture. Um, they do have a culture that is different than what you've been dealing with. The gods they worship are different gods than any of the guys around here. Um, but yeah, they're very much into animal totems. It seems like
All right.
wolf, snake, raven. These terms come up a lot.
Well, that's good. We have all of those things. The most important thing for a trade for us is that both sides are giving up something of value.
And that they are.
We usually come out on top because the things that we value other people tend not to, but that's that's okay.
And then autumn comes, the harvest. And with it, your people are kept very busy in all the kingdoms, as making sure that autumn happens is an important part of life, particularly in communities that rely upon these harvests to survive through the harsh winter. Um, let's see. Miles, you guys, I mean, you're very much in tune with the seasons. You've known it's coming and you've been planting your crops. So it's really just a matter of having a party and bringing them all in. But it does require all hands. So your people are kept really busy.
Okay.
In Runeterra, the harvest always requires special sacrifices. Um, dark rituals to ensure that the flow is maintained. In the Wandering Rut, some final hunts are done as people begin hunkering down and getting their meager tents ready for harsh cold. The Wandering Rut won't be doing much wandering during the winter months, as the temperature drop means that going outside of the tents is in and of itself a hazardous endeavor, purely from the wind and elements in the Badlands. Kashyyyk, in the Strange Tree, it's time to hoard up for the winter. So while the source of the food is very different from other agricultural groups, the general need to make a big pile of it is not. Uh, it's well understood that you need to be well stocked for the winter. And yeah, and so that occupies much of your time until the winter settles in. And when it does, suddenly there's a lot of free time on everyone's hands. This is a time in which to develop and grow. This is an excellent time to begin new projects, to work on infrastructure, training, and any other kind of development. So I'm going to give everybody 5 experience points, which you may spend as you see fit. And then you may also take an action to try and do things, upgrade, and improve. Max, bear in mind that given the conditions of your people, any upgrades or improvements that actually involve leaving the city are pretty hazardous to the health of people that go out. That said, you're also basically immune to invasion during this period as well. Did anybody want to take any actions with their leadership? Their kings and or advisors?
I was gonna say, as far as like, um, improving my stuff. Is it just that I'm giving dialogue on how I spent my experience points, or is it like
You
trying?
can give dialogue on that, and that would be excellent to do. But no, your king also has an opportunity to do things that are not the spending of experience points, but are trying to acquire items, establish relationships with people, various things. In the broad political world, if you're willing to brave the weather, there's two undead boats that no longer have a necromancer commanding them, that are just kind of floating off in the ocean. Um, Not likely to be a lot of treasure on them, but that's a thing. Uh, there's the various nations that you have relationships with, um, or you can try and improve things in your camp in the form of like creating weapons, items, equipment, anything that would be added to the inventory of your city's character sheet. So to give you an example, Ed might make use of his chickens to try to generate more eggs, to create a stockpile of eggs again. That's an option. I'm not saying he will do that. I'm just saying that that's like something that he could do. It's got nothing to do with spending experience points, but it's still, things that you can do.
Oh, it's back
So
to
I'm gonna say
nice little
that
skill.
I'm not like
So now for a while there, it
actively
was just like a 40-yard range.
going out and searching for anything, but being in a wasteland where it's basically like a frozen over like desert or just crap hole, any great beasts that might have also need to seek refuge in a place that really doesn't have a whole lot in that kind of time, like I'd like to like welcome in and domesticate anything that happens by. That's gonna die soon anyway if I wouldn't help it.
Okay, that's good. So that's agriculture for sure. Domesticating animals.
Bombs
Well, I
appear
have
on the
zero
ground
of that,
that you can
so
kick towards the boss. If there's
Well, it doesn't mean you still can't roll something.
yeah.
Normally, I would refer to that as an infrastructure thing. You're building out pens and bringing in the creatures.
Uh, could I say
this
that
way
it
you're
was
set
more
across.
of to like raise morale with the people and up military might, like have them bring in things that they would like, be used as like a. They would see it almost as a pet, but how it's going to end up working for the city, it's going to end up being like military.
Okay, you can do a military plus agriculture roll. You need 2 successes. Failures will be people lost to the cold.
That's terrible.
Playing anything
Yes.
about taking out my dad.
All right.
Woohoo.
So you have acquired a quality 3 domesticated beast of the wastes. I'm not even sure what kind of beast it is. You'll have to tell me.
You can move on to other people. I'll think about it.
Okay. Miles, now that you're in the winter months, and there is no more work to do as your people happily sit in warm homes with a wealth of food in their larders, what would your druid folk like to do?
Yeah, so what I've kind of envisioned is that probably in the winter, that's probably when more of our society would be more inclined to spend, a little bit more time in Dunwin. And it would also probably be around the time that I wouldn't say we like graduate new druids or anything like that, but of the druids who are who come to Dunwin to study, um, this would be probably around the time that they'd be making their decisions on like whether or not they'd stay here or whether or not they preferred being more of like a hermit druid and going off into the wild or maybe the opposite. But anyways, when this is happening, um, this would be when my king would kind of just make a statement to the druids, um, both locally and if possible abroad, just saying that there's been an alarming um, uptick in strange, dark, magical forces that are confronting us, both in the oceans to the south and also beyond the wall to the north. Um, I believe it's prudent that we should begin now the process of preparing for um, preparing for some kind of a battle against unnatural, unliving enemies, um, or yeah, just unnatural enemies that are not of this place, um, and using that as kind of a sort of cause to rally around. I'm kind of hoping that'll improve morale with the wild druids a little bit, just in that you can you wouldn't state this outright, but kind of implicitly that you can have your issue with the fact that we're doing druidism wrong, but the alternative is like an armada of zombies. So you know we may not be the worst ally out there. But more specifically, I'm trying to kind of militarize my druid order a little bit against unnatural foes that we may be uniquely equipped to combat.
Two promising youths come forward in response to this, um, each with a sort of declaration of loyalty to the cause, um, but with a slightly different viewpoint and perspective on it. One of them is a unifier. He's somebody from the wild druids who has taken up this cause with less grumbling than the others, and he speaks uh, not particularly eloquently, but he speaks in plain, understandable truths about the need to band together. This is someone who would be a good sort of liaison between the two and would help you unify the two druid factions. On the other hand, the other youth who has spoken um, is very much loyal in a different way. Not just loyal to the cause, but loyal specifically to the cities. He speaks passionately about protecting the people, not just the druids, but protecting all people, and that the people of the world are as much in the care of druids as the animals and trees. Um, Also a promising youth, and so it will be a tough choice. They're both going to be quality 4, but only one of them can be. They're slightly incompatible with each other. One of them can basically be your right-hand man, helping you with this supernatural project, and the other one will remain on the sidelines.
Yeah, I pretty in a fundamental way. I believe there's a place for both of them. I think my king's perspective would be that they're not actually incompatible, but understanding the political reality of one has to kind of take the lead here, without with make while being very careful not to marginalize the other and make it clear that there is a place and great value for them and all that.
They're not
Um,
petty or squabbling. They're
yeah,
just only one of them can be
yeah,
in charge. So you may appoint one of them as your right hand in addressing the supernatural threat. The other one will
Yeah.
still be on in your inventory, but will not get free actions during your turn.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's the loyalist that is probably most compatible with my King's Direct view. So I'll
Okay. The other guy stays. His convictions are strong. He didn't speak disingenuously, but the choice to favor the one over the other has had an impact on other druids who witnessed it, and so a sizable contingent of the wild druids have returned to their wild ways. Even in winter, they find that there is a coming of spring to renew their energy, and they walk into the forest. A gust of wind blows the snow, and they're gone.
cool.
Oh, Ed, I forgot to mention, as reward for your guys, you did get some knickknacks from the north.
Awesome. It's just like animal totems and stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
You may add that to your inventory there. It may have use later.
Oh, and I got a quality 3 hyena pack.
Just
by the way.
avoid the
Nice.
Hyenas are fucking gnarly, man. Like the first time I was like up close and saw one, like those things are
You know,
scary as hell.
some people might think, well, if you were picking stuff from an African savanna type thing, then why not go with lions? Hyenas fuck with lions.
Yeah, I'd much rather have to deal with a lion than a hyena.
Yeah, and they're disease ridden.
Ed, what would you like for your people to do in the winter months? It's cold out, but there's a pile of food under you, and yeah, you've got plenty of time on your hands.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to continue to trade in the winter, though it is difficult because we are very small and can barely see above the snow. We're probably going to go, much of the society kind of nestles in the strange tree. We burn a bunch of the old useless books and things for warmth, and we're at this point we're interested in keeping our newfound, um, as far as we can tell, permanent egg traders. Um, Warm and happy to stay around, so the chickens probably take up residence in the lower parts of the tower. And yeah, we burn some zombie parts and continue to trade with them for eggs.
All right, good plan. The chickens generate more eggs for you. And Tice, what will the bloody geared city do during the winter months? The cold is quite cold, and blood that doesn't have magical infusions to keep it warm will freeze up and cause issues with the gears. There's much work below to keep the blood both supplied and heated.
Yes, of course. The menial task will be done by the menials. But in the meantime, we'll be in the great library between the necromancer and the leader of the city, pouring through books. And in the middle of the table is the star map and several other books about necromancy and spirit speaking and stuff. And then we'll get to the conversation of him, the leader, going, yes. If you're such a great necromancer you claim to be, speaking to a god who is dead, which is a field of your expertise, should be no problem.
But the necromancer is, definitely happy for your hospitality, given that his boat was recently exploded by your neighbors. And so he'll definitely give it a shot. Um, he will, of course, need access to your library and to the knowledge of your people. But he's happy to turn on his necro juice and see what he can see. This is going to be an infrastructure plus scholarship roll, with the necromancer added as pips. The necromancer, after a period of intense magical use and the researches of your society and several trips down into the gears below, finally announces the god is not dead. It is wounded, badly wounded and near death. There is great energy of decay coming from it. But so long as it has a believer, even a single one, it is not quite dead.
So it's currently wounded. So that means it is the one that is in need of a bargain.
Indeed. I believe it could be healed if you were inclined to such a thing, but you would need to find the weapon that wounded it.
Yes, that's why I also have these star maps to figure out exactly what. If the god were able to tell me exactly what the last moments before they fell to the earth were, we might be able to try and find out what might hit it, what it would have hit it.
The necromancer sighs and shakes his head. He says, I do not believe this god will be speaking to anyone. Even its own followers send their prayers to deaf ears. It may not be dead, but it is far from having the power it once did. Speech is beyond it. Think of it as one who is in a coma.
So if you cannot speak to it, does it still have thought?
Of a sort. It has a kind of desperation. Because if its follower meets with an ill fate, it will truly die. I don't know who is keeping it alive, who still worships this thing. But whoever they are, and wherever they are, if they meet with death, then this god will truly pass, and you'll have quite the little prize. Do you know, queries the necromancer, because it's not certain, do you know what it was the god of before it died, or before it was wounded?
I not as much, but like he's been like studying the cities and stuff because like the city was like the architects of that originally made the city like were built it based on dreams they had, and the dreams were of what they thought was the dead god that were like.
A pity, he says. If it had been something truly interesting, I might be inclined to stay, but I fear that it might just be one of those gods of secrets that are doomed to die and take their secrets with them. Still, I wish you luck. With the spring thaw, I expect to be rebuilding my armada and leaving.
Yes, of course. Let's see, as he continues to peer through things, he sends word for the so let's see here, the would if someone believes in someone, would they have a connection to their god?
Oh yes, they would pray and ask their god for spells and favors and benefits. Um, it would be a very weak connection right now.
So if they were in the city, I could possibly keep eyes and ears out for someone of this individual.
The thought had crossed my mind, he laughs, but I could find no indication of energy within the city that would indicate the believer is here. They are far from this place.
But of course, um, yeah, I'll continue studying the star map, and I guess I will. Let's see here. So my whole study is trying to figure out this whole the god and the weapon that had caused it. See what else can I do right now to deal with this problem. Oh, and a side note: the necromancer never leaves the city.
Okay.
If his skills and assets are too far valuable to my city to let him just go wandering and dying off to some holy righteous druid that'll probably find him.
The rumors of the supposed vampire and his acts of cannibalism in the lower city are increasing. It's not certain that it's impacted your workflow yet, but his hunger may begin to cause some tax on the city if he's not dealt with. But at the moment, it's under control. You'll have opportunities to deal with him in the spring.
All right.
And with the spring and the thaw, and under the protests of the necromancer, who is, of course, being kept under house arrest to prevent him from leaving, you do find the call comes once again for another star moot.
Well, I mean, last time we got a lot of eggs, so we're definitely going to go this time.
Also, as a question, you had said something about, what would have had been an actual action we had to take to remove tax during the winter? Something. Because I remember you had mentioned something about the getting rest during the winter for removing taxes.
Oh, yes. Everyone restore all tax on your endurance for the winter. Your people are fed and rested. They have not had strenuous labor for a couple good solid months. Except for yours, Tice, but yours are supposed to be under continuous stressful labor. So you still recover the tax.
Okay, because yeah, I spent 15 during the year.
But yeah, you chose to research instead of recover other taxes, so that was your action.
All right.
All right, so I don't think anyone's gonna be able to prevent the raccoons from showing up to the moot.
We're going to bring less sticks this time. I go to one of the thefts who's carrying a giant bag of sticks, and I just kind of knock the sticks out of his hand and say, these were not a good crowd pleaser. Like fill the bag up with the shiny metals. They like those.
It's true that gold bar you brought was like the massive crowd pleaser.
I think on it for a moment, and then I say, it is good though that we're not cheating anyone. We should trade something that we value. Bring some of the sticks, maybe half sticks, half glittering metal. Otherwise, we're just cheaters. We're just cheating them out of things, trading useless gold medals that we have that provide no value to us for things that we die really.
Max, as the thaws come, your people receive the invitation. Starmoot to be held.
Gatling
Oh
gun.
yeah,
is
no,
a
I
skill round that's gonna
am
fucking
definitely
destroy you
always
if you're in his way.
looking for options to spend more
Eventually
spies
he's
and
gonna fly up into the air,
acquire
he's
more
gonna drop a
things.
The mood is a little more formally organized now. They want to have limited numbers of troops arriving at the moot. So they've structured rules that no more than 10 soldiers may come, but the king may bring an attendant.
Oh yeah, I'm bringing my right hand man.
Miles, which of your two attendants would you like to bring? I know you have the one guy tasked right now with researching the issues of the dark
Yeah.
magic. Do you want him with
Yes,
you to have that knowledge at your side, or do you want to leave him to his work?
I would like to leave him to his work. The attendant I'd like to bring would be the Unifier Druid.
Okay. And Tice, you may bring an attendant, and it may be, it can be the Necromancer if you want it to be, or you can, I mean, you'll be forcing him to come if he really wants to get away to his ship, or you can bring the supposed vampire guy if you want, or you can just come with some random dude. You have no lack of attendants to choose from. It's just those guys have some specific skills.
I'll bring Mr. Supposed Vampire with me.
He cleans up pretty nicely when he intends to go out, so after spending a little bit of time washing his face and grooming his hair, his teeth don't look quite as pointy. His eyes shift to a gray blue, and yeah, he's ready to come along with you. There's a
Of
string
course,
of curses, both linguistic and some slightly magical, coming from the Necromancer's abode as you go past.
um, was it So are we supposed to bring stuff this time?
Yes, they asked this time actually to just bring money, as they've now figured out how to just buy the things they need. Uh, this one has already been set up, so they used the money that they got from last year to get everything up and running. They just want to bring money to pay for next year. So, yeah.
I will still bring I'll still bring gifts of like food and some like nice like beautiful like chairs and stuff that are like but like they have like carving in them and stuff, and they're like this nice tinted red with like some kind of like scent on it to probably get rid of any like.
And they make the rooms
like it's a nice cherry wood. So like what I tell them it is, or redwood.
Of course. That red couldn't possibly be anything else. All right. Each of you approaches the moot. Ed, I assume that there's some other theft that is with you, not just the lead theft.
Oh yeah, I have not. I have an entourage of regular thefts, in addition to the high dirty theft.
Excellent. Is one of the thefts the one that that completed its pilgrimage? We'll call him the North Pilgrim Theft.
Okay.
Cool. Go ahead and make a just a quick. Oh, never mind. You don't have any dice and connections. Holy crap!
Not at all.
You found a thing you're good at, and you're sticking to it. All right. I'm going to call him a quality 2 theft. Really, his only knowledge is knowledge of what's north of the wall. That's his main thing. All right, one by one, each of you arrives and ascends to the top of the plateau. Stairs have been dug into it this time, so you don't have to use a rickety contraption elevating you with pulleys. There's actually it's a steep incline, but there's nice resting areas as it zigzags up the cliffs. And at the top, trees line the outside. And in the center is a little fairground, a little bit more elaborate and a little bit more pleasant than last time. Food is already ripe and cooked and ready for a feast. And all of you get a chance to sit around the fire and have a little bit of talk with each other before the druids begin the formal portion of it. So go ahead and discuss with each other while I go and pour myself some caffeine to last the rest of the night.
Well, hello there. How was your treasure hunting going on this boat?
Say, well, unfortunately, we never did find that necromancer, but yeah, I don't know. But perhaps the sea.
Quite amazing. It's almost like he exploded like blood and then he was gone. So it was weird.
That is strange. He's been a valuable asset to my city, I think.
It would have been so funny if he'd brought him. We'd be like, oh, there he is.
I was close to doing that, just being like, yeah, whatever, and put hey, what are you doing here?
I'd be fine with it. It's like,
All right.
hey, does he have more stuff I can take? Like,
I'll tell the theft that we brought many we brought many of our finest fruits. We have many
fruits
berries.
are delicious. Fruits are delicious. We have many sticks, which are very valuable to us. But we've been instructed to also mix them in with these trinkets, and it's rattling around like basically a sack full of gold and silver coins. Most of them basically ain't.
yeah.
I'll say, yes, but perhaps we can trade berries for sticks and trinkets.
The theft turns back to the other theft and kind of looks nervously, and then there's some chittering going on, and the dirty theft says, "If they wish to trade berries for these stupid sticks and trinkets, then that's their decision. They choose what they value. If they're going to give up berries for gold, random bits of gold, then they're fools. But that's not our concern."
Yeah, my guy, like, he hears the talk of sticks again, like, hey, sticks. But also bags of trinkets. Oh, hey, trinkets.
I told you would like the metals better. We have lots of metals.
I mean, I don't have anything in my inventory on hand, but I mean, if we're just talking, if anything, I'd have, like, jerkies and stuff.
Yeah, we're kind of vegetarian, but
He can broaden your palates.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter too much. I mean, like, at the end of the day, we're looking for something that you value, right? Because we assume that whatever you're trading us is something that you highly value. So if you're trading us meats, we're like, very well, I accept your gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't tell him it's raccoon jerky.
Yeah, don't tell us that.
I don't know, there's a lot of raccoons in the wastes.
Yeah, the coons
Seems
are
like more
probably
like a
down in the
forest
bayou.
animal.
Of course, I'm always down to offer hospitality for trade goods, but I know that is not your style.
Yeah, you brought that vampire, and my guy knows about that vampire, and like I know about that vampire, so I just like have my chair positioned the furthest away on the table from you, and I don't feel like trading.
I'm curious. I suspect my druids would be able to figure out he's a vampire pretty quickly. And then they'd be like, "Yeah, we'll join you on the other side of the table."
Oh, yes. Have you met my wonderful guest? He is from the Empire.
Oh, yeah, that's where he's from.
All right. Has everyone been formally acquainted?
Yes, we've
Yes.
traded berries and meat for sticks and trinkets.
Nice.
Yeah, and also there's a scene now where there's my guy and the vampire just sitting on one side of the table, and everyone else sitting on the very corner of the opposite side of the table.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else really knows, but like I know my spy has been giving me intel, so it's like I know, or at least I think that guy is there.
I think when he goes into a glade full of druids, I think they'll pretty quickly figure out, hey, look, it's an undead thing, both wild and city.
It turns out that none of your druids identify this man as being an undead.
Ah, okay.
He's strange for certain. Um, None of them really trust him. He smiles weirdly, but he has no aura of decay about him.
Interesting.
The rumors of his undeath were greatly exaggerated.
Well, we're safe than sorry.
All right, the lead druid comes up. It's a different guy than last time. Says, sorry, I may not be the druid you expected. The other one is taking a little bit of a rest. He's starting to get on in years, and he doesn't have the energy he once did. I think visiting all 5 of your kingdoms in a single evening was a bit taxing on him last year. We've agreed that dividing the labor has many benefits. For one thing, it keeps us away from each other, which is preferable for us. We are loners by nature. But this mood is important, and so we have gathered here. I thank you all for gathering as well. I'm sorry to hear that the representative from Lome Firma, I keep saying Prima. I glance at the name, and I just see a P and not an F for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, representative from Lone Firma is still in hibernation, but I'm certain that he'll be up and available soon. In the meantime, not a great deal has happened that is unnatural, but we are somewhat interested and concerned in this appearance of this empire that has up till now not meddled in our affairs. They've always been up there, they've just been quieter. Have you all had interactions with them over this past year that is of note?
Say, our envoy returned, so we were able to gather some information based on that, and I'll essentially just recount pretty much what I know. I'm not going to say that this is all I know, but I don't think anything that I've learned so far needs to be kept private. So, playing how much I know a little closer to the vest, I'll say, what I can share here is that there is indeed a dark and unnatural magic um, beyond the wall. The specific nature of it or the foe, we were not able to observe, and in fact, most of the people on the wall cannot observe it because it has not attacked in quite some time. Um, we've also noticed that their society seems to perpetuate itself by some unusual means. Whatever that may be. Perhaps like ours, they subsist largely with magical assistance. But the most important thing there is that the threat is real. Whatever is beyond the wall, I do not know, but it is real and it is a threat, and they're right to be concerned.
Well, they have set up an embassy in our city. They have seemed to have taken a bit of a liking to our people, which is not, of course, is should be expected of such high quality of our society is.
Of course, chimes in your guest. I wouldn't want anyone to think that we're playing favorites now. We value all who dwell within the protections of our wall. For all the smoothness and calmness in his voice, he is glancing at the bottles on the table. Of course, these druids provide completely normal, regular, alcoholic wine.
That's okay. I just put a couple bottles on my side of the table, and I open it, and then because I always got my own, a stash on my own because I know the druids will provide the good wine.
He's careful not to overindulge, but he does take a small sip, which seems to calm him a bit.
But yes, they do not seem to be. They are intriguing people, but they do not seem to be of a threat currently.
Oh, a
I
threat,
don't
of
know
course
anything
not.
about them.
The might of our military is dedicated entirely to the protection of those who are untainted.
Yes, of course.
We really only want to give you the opportunity to contribute of your own volition, as you see fit. After all, it is in everyone's best interest that the chaotic taint not fall south. Indeed, it would be wondrous if it could be purged in its entirety.
Yes, of course.
We don't expect any of you to muster such heroic actions as that. Merely that it would be useful to have someone guarding the wall.
Yes, and of course, what I've heard, seen before, If you begin to understand your enemy and learn about them, that you'll be easier to defeat them. We have many history books and stuff, and possibly if we are able to access any of their knowledge, any of their books that they may have that we have cleansed, that we may be able to learn their ways, so that we may be able to counteract them.
Oh, what a wondrous idea, he suggests. So glad that you feel that a cultural exchange of historical knowledge between your peoples could help educate you. Of course, we in the Empire have learned all that we need to of the taint. It must be purged, of course, and prevented from spreading. But to see you seek out that knowledge of your own volition is inspiring. What say you? He turns to those at the table. Will you share with this one's great library to read of his tomes and contribute your own?
One of my raccoons pulls a bunch of partially burned books out of its bag and says, "We will happily trade. What do you have of value? We have many books."
He looks at the books and smiles quite broadly. And in this moment of delight, he's unable to hide that his teeth have been filed to points. He quickly regains his composure, however. His raccoon friend has...
I also smile. My teeth are also pointy, but they have not been filed.
They're just naturally pointy. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's pointy teeth.
That's an old commercial.
All right. Yeah. So I mean, the raccoon is definitely trying to participate in this book exchange. He's trying to do it immediately, which was not what was really being proposed, but that's in their nature, and yeah, the guy does look for something that you would consider of value to trade for the books.
I mean, I'll let them know that if I happen to have books lying around, but I don't have any knowledge on if there are books in my area.
I did bring these well-crafted, put-together sticks that you might find of use. They, as I am referring to the chairs that I brought.
Yeah, I'll say that yes, whatever contribution we are able to make here would likely be in what we study, which is druidic magic. I expect that the more we learn about this taint and this enemy, the more unique insight we'll be able to provide on how to fight it and limit it, and perhaps turn the tide of the battle against it. And as we learn that, we will certainly be happy to share it with all who participate in fighting the scourge.
The sharp-toothed diplomat says, while they do seem a primitive people, I am certain that their cultural knowledge can be acquired through oral tradition. Perhaps I can visit and learn what among your people amounts to knowledge. He's speaking of the Wandering Rut.
I would advise against that.
Very well. It is at your discretion entirely.
Who's the one talking? It's Mr. Pointy Teeth that's hanging out with Tice's people?
Exactly.
Oh, no. No, while you were gone, Like I said, the spy has given me information, and I have a little information about his place. No.
As far as your spy has been able to figure out, this guy descends into the Undercity, commits acts of cannibalism, and then comes back up to be a diplomat.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Mm-mm. Not unless you want that guy dead.
Well, then, amongst some of you, a sharing of knowledge. This shall be
Well,
most fruitful.
I was just gonna roll resources, which I have a lot, and
Oh,
see
yeah.
if like a random person, like a refugee, has happened to have a book on something.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't know we are doing it right now. All right. Two successes.
Nice. Yeah, you have some books. They're not with you, um, but they're back at the rut. Some of your guys came a very long way to escape justice from a very harsh place, and they brought with them some storybooks that tell of the history of their people. Mostly, it's scary monsters, things you tell children about to keep them uh, from misbehaving until they're strong enough to actually win the fight. But there may be some nuggets in there that you can contribute to the general knowledge.
Nice.
The druids of the wilds, their communication is entirely oral. They don't have any written documents, um, but they do have several chants and histories memorized. Of course, every single one of them has them memorized slightly differently, so there may be some degradation of the information over long periods of time. But they will happily recite their chants for you. This lasts long into the evening. In the morning, of course, the druids begin cleaning up the camp. A successful star route, and there has been an agreement for the sharing of information. The only other incident of note is that, Tice, you've returned to find that the necromancer has broken out of his quarters and caused a bit of damage on his escape. He is going to roll his dice here, and then you can try to recapture him. This is definitely a military action to try and capture him. Probably military plus army.
That definitely isn't looking good for me. Hopefully he will roll poorly.
He has 5 successes. If you'd like to roll something other than military plus army, you could, instead of trying to recapture him, just do your best to mitigate the damage he causes on his way out.
Uh, might I, through my spy, like knowing that that guy's broken out, like offer militia like help and military to like bring that guy back.
Yes, you may.
Um, Also, with the caveat of enhancing the spy network in his town.
So there you have it, Tice. You can accept his help. Doing so will, of course, increase the quality of his spy.
Somewhere, but yes, of course.
Ghost sounds all over.
I will gladly accept his help. And
All right,
So,
your spy for the Blood City has increased to quality 2.
yay! Do I have to roll anything? Or...
Not for the spy, but you do need to roll something to help him recapture. He needs 5 successes. He hasn't made his roll yet, so he may get some extra successes in there.
Yeah. Say I can, since I'm searching for the guy, like I can maybe do militia and exploration. And if I can do that, I've got a lot of dice at it.
I'm just trying to figure out what else could be besides army to capture him.
So, militia would be like your people just going out to get him, not an organized group by your army. So, are you putting a bounty on his head?
Is he missing, or is he defended?
The necromancer is breaking out of his house arrest violently and using magic. He's in a city of blood and corpses, so he's having a pretty good time of it.
Well,
After he smashes
as
through the city gates, he's heading out into the wilderness. But hey, he's heading south towards the ocean.
well, as it's like, the winter has, passed, and it's like springtime again or whatever, and my people are restless. Obviously, I'm gonna get them all together and tell them, let's explore this, like the a new campsite, and I'm gonna send them like in that general area. Report to me anything you find.
Is it possible to have been able to get vials of his blood, or
No.
does he have blood?
He does not.
He has bone marrow. It's
I've
dried
got
up.
I've got bottles of blood. I mean, I don't know if they're still lying around.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't care whose blood it is.
Let's see, because I guess I'll just roll militia for right now and see what I get.
Okay. Yeah, military plus you have zeros and everything else, so it's basically your military.
Whoops.
So Max, if you want to reduce the quality of your treasure by 1, you can put a bounty out on this guy's head and send your militia out with the full force of your culture plus militia as your roll, or military plus militia. Otherwise, you're not really working to recapture him. That was a damn good roll, Tice. Otherwise, you're not really working to recapture him. You're just sort of hindering his progress a bit.
No, I'll do that. I'll text my trader because it's worth it to have a stronger spy network. And you said it would be militia.
Militia plus military. Money talks.
After being such a good sport about it.
Yeah, we definitely caught him. I
Yep.
could have almost caught him on my own.
You've definitely caught him, and Max, you had more successes in the catch. So you get to decide what is done with him.
I mean, I intend on giving him back, and I mean, of course, Tice this whole time. I mean, because it's a spy network, you don't really know you have a spy network like in your place. Is there any way I can just, if you go man free of charge, caught him and everything, I won't even ask why you need a lich that's fucking disgusting and is going to cause problems in your town. And then use that success to like raise like the spy network. Like I'll have the guys like escort him in there, and then he'll think that they leave, but they don't.
Okay, yeah, you can push your spy up to level 3.
Yeah, because like the guards just be like, "Oh, just more filthy peasants in our city," you know.
Definitely got the filthy part down. Still working on the peasants part of it. All right, and that concludes the excitement of the Star Moot. And now is the time for you guys to collaborate on your research.
Oh yeah, and also before the star mood ends, I'd like to have my unifier dude just kind of give a speech to some of the other druids, just basically just trying to shore up their relationship a bit, and just again reiterate that you may not agree with the specifics of how we honor life, and that's fine because even within our own circles, we don't uniformly agree on that. But I think we can all agree that um, with the kind of threat that faces us to both the north and somewhere out here with this lich, that um, those who wish to preserve life and maintain it are just our allies, whether we like it or not, or whether you like us or not, we are your ally.
All right, make a culture plus diplomacy roll and add in his quality as pips.
All right.
As he is one of them, he will probably be well received no matter what, but let's just see how well received.
Those pips were very useful.
Yeah, that's really all him. Um, without his voice, it would have been, if it wasn't him saying it, it would have fallen on deaf ears, but they empathize with him, being as he is one of them. He shares their values, and yeah. So you have mended the relationship. They're different druids, but some of the druids from the wilds have resumed the collaborative effort to figure out what's wrong in the north.
Yeah, like even kind of before, it's like the way I kind of envisioned it would be that like some druids would be living, among my people and would decide they were a little more, a more hermitic lifestyle suited them, and they would kind of leave my society to go off and become wild druids, and maybe the same might happen. There would maybe be some kind of exchange of people, druids just seeking a different kind of life anyways. So like some kind of cross-pollination or kind of movement between them might not even be that unusual, although it probably wouldn't be very common either.
That sounds good. I like it. All right, let's do this collaborative research check here, and then I think we'll close it up for the night.
Cool.
First is each of you is going to tell me the one thing that you are particularly focused on in your research. You guys can collaborate with each other to decide who's going to try and research what. All of you will be pooling your results together And so it's an all or nothing thing. Either all of you will learn your thing that you're learning, or none of you will. We're going for a total of 12 points of knowledge to completely understand what's going on, but there are lesser degrees of knowledge that can be accomplished by lesser results.
Yeah, all I have is like a little bit of knowledge about some old fairy tale stories. I don't even know
Max,
what I'm
you
rolling.
may contribute the books as pips when you roll, or you may sacrifice the books, donating them to the library. You'll lose the books, but you'll contribute them as dice.
Yeah, I'll just lose them. They can have them.
All right, make an infrastructure plus scholarship roll, and add the 2 dice from your books. Well, you do have 1 infrastructure, so it's not just the 2 dice from your books.
Well, yeah, but I have 0
You have
of
0
the other one.
scholarship, yeah, but you have 1 infrastructure. 1 plus 2 is 3.
One infrastructure counts as 2 dice?
No, your books count as 2 dice.
Oh. Same result.
All right.
I help a little.
You help a little. You contributed a die. Has everybody decided what it is you'd like to be researching?
Yeah, I'd like to research kind of the nature of this magic that the druid sends beyond the wall. Which I guess is what my loyalist druid was already researching anyways. So, but yeah, that I think that's probably directly relevant to what we're trying to. So would that be scholarship and culture?
For you, yes. For people
Okay.
doing normal research out of books, it is infrastructure plus scholarship plus infrastructure.
Okay. And can I use the loyalist who's been researching his pips?
Yes.
All right.
I always keep on forgetting, what is intrigue used for again?
Trade?
Intrigue.
Oh, intrigue. Intrigue is spying on people. It is political manipulation within your society. So, like, if you needed to overthrow your ruler with somebody who's more capable, that might be an intrigue roll. So you could try to go for somebody whose quality is better than 6 as a leader by making an intrigue roll against your current leader.
Because let's see. Basically, I was like, I'm trying to think. Yeah, 'cause, yeah, I'm trying to find a way of using intrigue in this. The kingdom knows about this stuff, or no.
The Empire does, yeah. So if you wanted to try to use your connections to steal knowledge from the Empire to contribute, that would be intrigue.
Okay, yeah, I'm doing that, and I'm basically looking for basically what the Empire considers like heresy and like forbidden lore, magic, and like rituals and stuff. It's like stuff that like I can like probably break down the rituals and stuff and figure out like information based on that. Like so basically my people would know how to actually cast these, like some of them might know actually how to cast these spells, but by learning how to cast the spells that and stuff, that they will be able to fully understand the enemy.
Okay, that's a good angle.
And I will be using the knowledge of the depths of the dead.
And Ed, are the raccoons? I know that you're contributing random books, which is fantastic. You're just going to be making a straight up resources roll as your contribution. Do the raccoons want to actually find out anything about what's going on?
I mean, we're aware that there are people beyond, or there's something beyond the wall. Our main concern about the thing beyond the wall is whether or not it's something we can trade with. And also, if so, what sorts of things that it values. We avoid certain groups of people because the things that they seem to value, we don't really want. Um, and it's best if both sides come out both happy, basically. So we're not actually going to
Jeez.
explore. We're not really explorers, but we'll totally just learn what everybody else knows through just plain old espionage.
Okay.
And it looks like we just passed.
Yeah, I think
anyways.
we just obliterated the necessary roll.
Holy crackers. Yeah. All right.
You're saying I'm good at finding out forbidden knowledge and like dark secrets.
Yeah, just don't go running out of your forbidden castle looking for somebody.
So, I mean,
Looks like
yeah, I can still roll, but
yeah.
doesn't matter.
Go ahead.
It's all icing.
Do you
We're
want
gonna find
to, is it
like
like a
secret.
resources and espionage roll, or like a?
I was going to do a straight resources roll. Your espionage is against your allies, not against the actual target of the roll.
blow it out of the water so we learn like secret stuff we're not supposed to know yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tice is correct about that.
All right, I'll just do a straight resources then.
There we go. So 20 successes total. Pooling your resources, you have come to the conclusion that what is being dealt with north of the wall is an invasion from another realm, a supernatural portal through which demons of chaos are progressing into the world. As best as you can tell from the histories that you've studied, Tice, it looks like the Empire in the North noted that the tribes north of their wall, which had been built actually before the chaos infestation, as just a general project for border security and broadly for just political internal reasons. The wall was constructed, but the tribes to the north they did do trade and things until they began worshiping demons from some higher or lower plane, and the demons responded and began to teach them dark magics that they used to open a portal to allow the demons to just straight up enter the world. The demonic magic is of a chaotic evil nature. It is a cruel and menacing chaos that seeks to inflict pain arbitrarily, randomly, with no real plan or goal. It's just a cancer that just wants to eat the world. You guys also buried the needle on that, so I'm going to give you some bonus info. The Empire has not been idle and has been looking for supernatural allies of its own to confront this threat. They have done a lot of research into that, and there is some suggestion they may have been successful on that front.
Since I've been going through their stuff, would I have found out like any reason of why they were going after my people? Like they're like seeming to be focused a lot, like interested in my people, or is
You think it may be related to their attempts to find a supernatural weapon that can close the rift, something that could kill God, basically. Since the demons that are coming through are basically malevolent evil gods. You think it's likely that they're studying the corpse that your city is built on as an example of what might a weapon do or be that could drop such a powerful creature.
I see.
And there is one more thing that is learned, but it is learned by L'Homme Firma, and so we'll discover that next week when I believe he will be back in town, I think. I'm not sure, but I hope so. In any case, thank you, gentlemen, and we can begin closing ceremonies.
Okay, I'd like to give out my XP. One to Max for basically being like, oh, you have a escape necromancer. Let me help you out, bro. At the same time, it's starting to actually get some pretty good spies because, like my underground city, like part of my city is just like they easily get through because like the guards just like disregard anything in the lower cities as like just filth.
Yeah.
We're too stuck up for our own good. I'd like to give one to Echelon for basically being like, well, we're going to bring this trash with us, but like we've got to bring some good stuff at the same time because, like no one wants this metal, but they seem to want the metal, but we don't want to cheat them out of anything, which is funny because like that whole idea of it, because like the perspective of wealth is versus like what the rest of the world perceives as wealth. And I want to give one to Marlowe for just wanting to make sure that like that to make everyone understand like doesn't matter where you come from like as a druid, that like all druids walk the same path, just how they see the path looks different, but they're still on the same path.
Cool. Yeah, I can go next. So to Tice for turning a crisis into an opportunity. You came and you went to fight a lich, and it became your buddy. And yeah, where everyone else saw a fight that had to happen, you saw an ally that could be gained. So that was pretty cool. To Ed for successfully making a military trade attack. Yeah, that was pretty excellent, and well narrated. And to Max for really drawing the line with your empire. That it's like, we may be a bunch of bloodthirsty savages, maybe. We may kill each other for any reason or no reason at all, but we're not vampire cannibals. We don't take their kind. So, you drew a firm line in the sand, and that was good. I think it was a wise move.
Yeah, I'll go for Tice. Yeah, the necromancer thing. Like, I really thought you were gonna end up having to fight him like a necromancer on your own, but to just like teleport him and then be like, "Hey, bro, we're also horribly evil. Like, hang out here and get resources and help us out." That was pretty cool. Uh, to Marlowe for blasting the shit out of that necromancer and basically like handling that part of the fight on his own, and disabling the ship like all in one go. To Ed because uh, he's effectively gone from just raccoons that pick up random stuff and trade random things to like, well, now we kind of farm chickens, but not farm chickens. It was nice.
We cohabitate with chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll go. So like, yeah. So I mean, Tice for um, I, I I guess the most memorable thing for me is basically when everything's kind of going to shit. Your main question is like, can I get some of his blood? Because I really kind of want that, right? It's just the focus there. Um, let's see to max with for like basically having it's like you have a leader to your culture, but it's less like you lead them and more like you just kind of steer them in a direction. So you can't tell your guys just like go get this guy. You have to be like let's put a bounty on his head and see if we can incentivize the society into going and doing something useful for us.
Yeah.
Let's see. To Miles, I can't think. What did you do this session, Miles? That I must have missed some of the things. Like
I blew up the ship.
right. You were there for the ship. Yeah, no, that's right. I totally remember now. I was trying to think of what you did at the moot. I didn't really interact with you too much at the moot, but no. So for using the twig that I gave you to great purpose, I do remember that. Yeah, so just deciding on basically moving. Deciding on basically using the what we thought was a useless twig. We value twigs, and it was a very pretty twig, and we like to see a twig that's straight at hands be used to a great purpose. Um, and that seemed to be super effective. I was somewhat impressed that I mean, Dave, you said that thing was like for like sieging cities, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Right. Yeah. So using it on some ships is probably overkill, but it was justified.
And broadly speaking, most of the shots missed. So you only really got a small sampling of what that wand is capable of.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, it did well. It firebombed a bunch of bugs.
Yeah. Hey, and we'll use it again. We
On a
took it
larger
as
target, you imagine there'd be more shots connecting, which
No,
could cause more
give a
devastation.
give a wizard a fireball, and I mean, it really is like you have a hammer and everything's a nail kind of situation, right? So,
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. I may stick around and play a round of Blackout Club, but yeah, I'm going to close down the recording now. We'll resume next week.
All right.
cool.
I'm down with that.
I'm down.